welcome. We are multitasking, as I'm sure most triathletes can attest to. Got our awesome truck stuff in the back. Tanya's at the wheel driving, so we're going to keep her eyes on the road. But we hope everybody's having a great weekend. We are heading to Augusta, 70.3, to have a crack at that one. I've never done that race. I'm excited to see it. That was Tanya's first 70.3, I believe. Yeah. So she's excited to take me there and show me what that 70.3 is like. And it's also her birthday weekend, so we are following her lead. Happy birthday. Really, to Tanya, I'm sure everybody around here is going to say happy birthday too. Couple things. One is we're going to start some of that cool stuff that we were talking about in the community over the next month. I'm going to do another live. Hopefully, I might even do one right after this, but if you don't have a chance, we changed the name to just the Triathlete Community, right? With the.
Exactly.
Yep, the Triathlete Community. And we did that because it's open to anybody. It doesn't matter if you're self-coached, doesn't matter if you're coached by Superfly or have a different coach. We want the best information in one safe place that everybody can come ask questions, get great information, and rely on each other. Hopefully, eventually meet more people from around the world, and have just a bigger community when we go to races. It makes everything more fun. So that's our goal with that. So please go over and join. It's totally free. We're going to be doing awesome tips. If you're going to join the community, we're going to work on some speed skills, especially for running. And what we're going to have you do is eventually I know some people are finishing up their races, so they're not ready for that, or they might even be doing some off-season stuff, which is great to do as well. So we'll probably start in 4 or 5 weeks, but in that time, your homework is to run a mile for time. We're not doing goal mile. I know we've done that before, and we'll probably do that again later, but that's not what this is. So what we need, though, is we need to get your VO2 velocity, and that's usually what you can do for about 6 minutes. So if it's going to take you longer, which will lead into my conversation today, to run a mile in 6 minutes, run as far as you can in 6 minutes. Don't run much farther than that. So if you're running a mile and you're a 6:20 or something like that, I don't care if you finish off the mile. But if your best mile is a 9-minute mile, you don't have to go the whole mile. I'm most concerned with how fast can you go for 6 minutes. All right? Got it?
Got it.
All right. That brings me to a question that I got today from actually Sarah Moss. I should actually tag her in this. But she was asking, how do you train if you're a slower athlete, and are our training plans written for time-based athletes or distance-based? So in other words, she's asking, if you tell somebody, for example, if they're going to go do an Ironman to go run 10 miles, it's going to take two people of different abilities, much different times to run 10 miles. Could take somebody 50% or even twice as long, right? So what do? Most of our things are written in time-based, and we pair that with intensity levels. One of the benefits of being coached is you start to dial in either the exact mileage or the exact time that's going to be anticipated for that given intensity, so we can really dial it in for your schedule. But if you're working on your own, or if you're grabbing one of our great training plans, you can still always tweak it a little bit. One of the things you can do in the community is ask what's the goal of this? About how far should we go? But the reason that we do it on time is because we have, with all our experience, a good working knowledge of how much time you need to be out on your feet. And there's things called points of diminishing returns. So for example, I would never have an athlete really run over 20 miles in most cases. I'd also never have an athlete, no matter what their speed, run over 3 hours. I don't care how slow you are. The rewards that you get start to far diminish, and the risks start to go up a lot. So there's certain points that we want people to be stopping at certain times. The other question that leads into is, well, what happens if, in my long runs, I'm only covering 10 or 12 miles, and I'm supposed to be expected to run 26 miles, or, if you're doing a half marathon, what if I can only run 6 miles in the allotted time, and, we're getting ready to go to a place like Augusta, and, I'm going to have to be able to run 13 miles. Great questions, and I understand without the answers where you could have a little anxiety and concern about that. The one thing that I will say is consistency is king. you're also building cumulative fatigue in your daily workouts that you wouldn't normally have on race day. So ideally, you're not going to have just worked out hard the day before your race, which is one of the reasons why you taper. So if you're building constant fatigue, you're doing those workouts in a pre-beaten up state, for lack of better terms, or pre-stressed state. So you have to be consistent. If you really are going to be a little bit slower, or if you really don't have a lot of time, because I definitely have athletes that have great abilities, but they just literally don't have more than maybe 10 hours a week to train, it's really, really important to maintain consistency all year round for that. Because if you're going to be getting ready for a long course event, anything 70.3 or longer, and you don't have time in your schedule to really ramp up and build fitness quick, you need to maintain fitness. I would say it's even more important. And also things like strength training and that type of stuff, which we can get into later. Another tip is, if you have some time, but you're working on, or if you're having anxiety because you want to do a little bit more duration, or if you're also wanting to keep duration up, but maybe you're fighting off an injury right now and you're getting over your injury and you're trying to make sure that you're in top form for your Ironman coming up, and what do I do? One of the things that I've done with athletes in the past as well is two things. My dad always says that he's a completer, not a competer. So he's totally expecting to go out and do between 14 and 17 hours, depending on how he feels that day. He would do things literally like go for a bike ride, come home, garden, mow the yard, maybe go for a walk, do that stuff, just practicing moving for that amount of time. It could literally be running errands. He just didn't want to do his bike ride or his exercise and then come home and just sit on the couch all day. So for him, that's almost specific training to his Ironman, because he's not racing hard. He's just more in motion for a lot of periods of time. So don't be afraid to do that type of stuff. The other thing that you can do that's even a little bit more above that, but a little more also more specific, is you can do things like run for an hour or run for an hour and a half or even 2 hours. Or if you really wanted to run all the way up to that 3 hours, which I would really caution you about doing, you can then hop on your bike and continue to ride if you're really concerned. So if you really are concerned, how am I going to run a 4 or 5 hour marathon off the bike, you literally could run 2 or 3 hours, get on your bike, and then finish off that time, because your cardiovascular system doesn't know the difference between what you're doing. Your heart doesn't know if you're swimming, biking, or running. Your musculature absolutely does, and that needs to be trained, but you can only train that to a point, and then you have to be able to absorb that. I see Tanya's hand going up.
Yeah, so how would someone know if they should be concerned? I know you mean just internally, but are there any sort of, key things that people,
Yes. How would you know?
Yeah.
The Triathlete Community free group. You can come in there and you can ask, because if you're really concerned, obviously, we could spitball answers here till the cows come home. But isn't it awesome that you have a free place to go to ask your specific question and get some expert advice on what you should do for your example? So that's what I would say.
I love it.
But,
thank you.
Yeah,
that's a really good point, though.
Yes, because honestly, I totally mean it. And that's why we created it, because I could answer that, and then someone would say, well, what if this? And then what if that? I mean, we could go on and on and on. So in general, I'm going to try to hold this to generalities. If you have specific questions, please get in that community, ask. The coaches are always monitoring. Other coaches, I'm sure, will start monitoring as well too. So, and other athletes will probably have experiences. Like my dad, for example, is perfect at answering that exact question, because he's been there, he's done that, and he can relate to exactly what that issue is. So does that answer that question?
That does. Are you done? I don't mean to say, are you done talking, but are you done talking? So for some of the people who might not know you, Adam, in the group, who are you and why should we listen to you? Because you're awesome. I know that. A lot of people know
Two for two, putting me on the spot. Listen, I think that what's made me a good coach is I come from a very diverse athletic background. So I was just talking to an athlete this morning. When I started triathlon, I couldn't swim the whole 1.5 miles without breaststroking. I couldn't remember what it was like to be able to just run an entire 10K. And then when I was able to run the whole 10K off the bike, I wanted it to be less than 60 minutes. My bike splits for an Olympic distance race used to be less than 20 miles an hour. I could remember when my goal, this was pre-heart rate monitors, even pre-power meters, I just wanted my speed to average with a 2 in front. I wanted to be 20 miles an hour or faster for my 40K, and I can remember when that was something. So from there, long story short, I've now been to Hawaii 9 times, and I have won races and that type of stuff. But my point is, what I like is I can meet athletes pretty much anywhere on their journey. I've been there, I've done it, I've struggled with it, and the other thing that I like to do is I like to curate a lot of really smart people and put them around, because sometimes even when people are saying the same thing, some people will just hear it differently from other people. So I'm always, and that's the other thing too, I was like doing a little shakeout run today before I got on the in the car, which we're in right now, and I was doing this little dynamic routine that I do, and I was thinking to myself, like, I made it my mission to go around the world and hire the best people that I could put around me to get the best information, because that was what was interesting to me. That was what I wanted to do to kind of grow my triathlon experience. And I was doing my little warm-up, and I was thinking, man, this is something that I got from one person, and I'm out here interjecting it, and I've learned other ways, but that one person said it to me in a way that this just worked for me. And now I'm out doing other things today that I've gotten from other people, and had I not gone and talked to all those different people, I wouldn't have been able to come up with this exact routine that I have found that works for me. So what we try to do in the community is cut that learning curve. You know, we've kind of sort of sifted through a lot of the BS stuff out there, a lot of the stuff that works, a lot of the stuff that doesn't work, and we try to bring that to you, because we realize that people are trying to win at triathlon, however they define that, but they're probably already trying to win at other things in life too. Being a good spouse, being a good parent, being a good employee, or whatever. So, you know, you need to have efficiencies in your life. And so if we can bring you that efficiencies in our community where we can help boil down to brass tacks and get you some great information, that's everything. How's that?
That's awesome.
Any more things to put me on the spot?
I was trying to think of something, but I'm concentrating on the road. But no, that was awesome, Adam. Really, thank
Cool.
you.
Yeah, I don't really like to get into too much of my stuff, because honestly, the community is about you guys. So we're there to help you. Your accomplishments are way more important or exciting to us than ours, and we just like racing to be out there amongst you.
Yeah.
So with that, if you're going to Augusta, come say hi. We'd love to say hi.
Yeah. For sure.
Unless I'm walking, then maybe wait to the end. So anyway, we hope everybody has a great weekend. If you're racing, have a great race. If you're getting ready for Chattanooga in a week, hopefully everything's going well. Now, just remember, at this point, the best thing you can do is show up to the start line healthy. So if you are dealing with an injury, there's nothing that your body can absorb in 14 days. So anybody who's within 14 days of a race, all you're doing is trying to maintain, or actually not even maintain, you have to give up some fitness to let your form and your ability to express your fitness come up. That's what a taper is. But if you're injured, you're not going to be able to express fitness. So get yourself healthy. Anything that you need to do to get healthy, do that. And that's it. Anything else?
No. Awesome.
All right.
You guys have an amazing
See you guys in the
weekend.
community, and we'll talk to you later. Bye.
Bye.